In 1620, while the Mayflower was in Provincetown, 18 of its men sailed in a small shallop, searching for a place to live. They came to present-day Eastham, where they were met by a group of Nauset. After a brief but violent encounter, the English left towards today's Plymouth. In 2020, we remember this first encounter. We explore its meanings for today and tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Bill Burke. I'm the park historian at Cape Cod National Seashore, and we are here in Eastham inside of the Salt Pond Visitor Center. And today I want to help us connect with the resources that the National Seashore has to the Pilgrim story and the 400th anniversary. The National Seashore was very important for preserving the history of the Pilgrim 400th anniversary. So physically, within the National Seashore, you can visit, for example, the Pilgrim Spring, and that was the purported site of the first fresh water found by the Pilgrims. That is in North Truro, so if you visit our National Seashore and you head up to North Truro, check out the Pilgrim Spring Trail to find that spot. And then we know that the Pilgrims explored for 5 weeks outer Cape Cod, and during those explorations walked through much of present-day Cape Cod National Seashore. Another resource that connects us with the Pilgrim story here at the National Seashore is all the archaeology that has taken place in the last 55 years or so of the National Seashore's existence. So the archaeologists from the National Park Service, Plymouth Plantation, and other places have discovered over 200 known archaeological sites. Many of these are Native American sites that date from that contact period. So the National Seashore today not only protects those 200 plus archaeological sites, but we have in our archives here at the Salt Pond Visitor Center all of the written records, field notes, and other notes from the archaeologists that describe those archaeological sites. So, physical sites from the Pilgrim exploration, archaeological sites are preserved by the National Seashore for the underground resources that are connected to the Pilgrim anniversary. And then finally, at the archives themselves, which are located in the basement of this building at Salt Pond Visitor Center, we have in particular one piece of archival collection that is of note for the Pilgrim 400th anniversary, and that is the papers of the Warren Sears Nickerson collection. And to give you an idea of the volume of the collection, we have approximately 6 boxes this size. Warren Sears Nickerson worked in the late 1800s through till the 1950s, and he was a local Cape Cod historian. He was from the Pleasant Bay area and grew up on Cape Cod, and went to sea as a hand on several sea vessels, then became an undertaker and had a successful business in Harwich. Poor health forced him to move to Florida, and it was at that time in the late 1800s into the early 20th century that he became a noted historian on the Indian place names of the Outer Cape, the history of the last native Cape Codders who lived on the Outer Cape, and he produced an enormous volume of research. He was a Mayflower descendant, not only descendant from one Mayflower passenger, but I believe 9. So he wrote quite a bit about the first 5 weeks of the Mayflower, where the Mayflower probably went on its course around the arm of the Cape until settling in Provincetown, and then went into great painstaking detail and research on what the Pilgrims did and their interactions, from his point of view, their interactions with the native peoples. So Warren Sears Nickerson has this tremendous amount of archival material. The most famous of his archival work is called Lower Cape Cod Indians. This is the original manuscript that he wrote, typed up, and it is a painstakingly researched version of, from the European perspective, of the Pilgrims who lived on Cape Cod from the time of the Mayflower and all of their descendants leading up to a lot of the dispersal of the native peoples that took place in the 17 and 1800s. Warren Sears Nickerson also has a great collection of place names. So if researchers come in looking for some old place names, some of which are native name-based and some are European-based names, he has a whole binder in which he goes place by place, alphabetical order, with some great information on why little corners of the Cape are called what they are today. And finally, he has a wonderful collection of old maps, many of them hand-drawn, some of them even produced on a lot of leftover paper that he used. We even have maps that were created on shopping bags. These are maps showing different parts of Cape Cod utilizing the place names of native peoples as well. So the Warren Sears Nickerson collection at the Salt Pond Visitor Center Archives is a great resource if you want to learn more about native place names. Probably a good 100 or so native people's histories and where they lived, especially around the three tribes of the Wampanoags, Nauset, and Sequatuckets. Those were the three tribes that he studied in great detail. Okay, so when you're at Salt Pond Visitor Center, and someday when we reopen after the pandemic, you'll get a glimpse, if you haven't already, and maybe a past visit here, to some of the great exhibits that we have and some of the great objects that we have on display. And at the beginning I talked about the artifacts that the Cape Cod National Seashore holds. Over 500,000 museum objects in our Cape Cod National Seashore Museum collection. Many of those objects are archaeological and they come from Native American sites. Some sites thousands of years old, other sites from that contact period, that time period when the Pilgrims landed in 1620. One of the first things you'd see in our exhibit once we reopen again after the virus is over is the section on Native American history. And we know that Native Americans have lived on Cape Cod for thousands of years and even to this day have a thriving and flourishing community. The Mashpee Wampanoag tribe and the Wampanoag tribe of Gayhead-Aquina are active tribes in the area and also have members of the tribe who live in and amongst us here on the Outer Cape. Years and years ago, many of the Native American peoples would have lived in weetus, and we have a portion of a weetu that was constructed by a native person from the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe for us, and it gives you an idea of the construction of the weetu and how weetus could have a summer covering, and then in the image that you see off in the distance for the winter, the bark covering. Also in the exhibit there are stations where you can listen to native peoples speaking and talking about the different resources that they cherish here at the National Seashore. And other objects in the cases would be handcrafted objects made by contemporary Wampanoag people on display as well. So the story of the archaeology and the story of the native peoples on Cape Cod is really highlighted here in the first part of the museum exhibit at the Visitor Center. And the last thing of great significance are the objects that were found in Eastham during an archaeological dig in 1990 and 1991 from the Carn site, which was an archaeological site down at Coast Guard Beach in Eastham. The objects in this exhibit, just a few of the thousands that we have in our collection, really help tell the story of what native life was like at the time of the contact period when the Pilgrims met the Native Americans in 1620. So the physical objects here will really help you connect back to what native life was like at the time. One last note for all of our visitors and residents is that during the COVID-19 pandemic, the National Seashore has remained open. The beaches have remained open for people to get outside and recreate. Unfortunately, the two visitor centers at the National Seashore remain closed at this time. but they will reopen at a later date, hopefully later this year. We certainly miss having all of the visitors and residents coming in to see our wonderful exhibits. So beaches are open, trails are open, bike trails are open. The visitor centers, however, we're still waiting on as things open up more. The restrooms are also available at all the key beach locations.
My name is Joanna Hollick. I'd like to share an invitation with you regarding Eastham 400's other series, the Campfire Series. The Campfire Series is a series of hour-long presentations each Sunday in July and August that delve more deeply into some of the topics we discuss here on the Sunset Series. Previous episodes of the Campfire Series can be found on our website, eastham400.org. We are happy to announce that 2 of our campfires will be held in person. On Sunday, August 16th and Sunday, August 30th, these campfires will be held at the Eastham Windmill at 6 p.m. Presentations will feature John Hanlon, who has led the campfires at the Cape Cod National Seashore for the past 20 years, and Linda Coombs, a member of the Aquina Wampanoag tribe. The same presentation will be given both nights. We are excited about these events and hope to see you there.